Hello everyone, how are we doing? This is the Predicted 11 video for West Ham United versus Leeds United, and it's been a while. It's been a while since I feel like I've done one of these videos. Obviously enjoyed doing them. We're going to cover Leeds' Predicted 11 based on current injuries as well as the current nature of the squad as well. I know they've got a few of the returning players, so keep an eye out for that. West Ham, I imagine there'll be a slight change in the formation, so again, I'm going to go through that and obviously explain things in it. If you do like the video, then make sure you like and make sure you subscribe to the West Ham way. Let's get into things with Leeds United. I think they're going to play Meslier in goal. I'm laughing because obviously they're going to play Meslier in goal. Really good shot stopper. Really impressed this season. He's young. He's only 20. I think he's got the record amount for clean sheets. The youngest ever age in the Premier League. So fair play. It's an accolade for him. Again, the only thing that lets him down at times is his composure and his terms of his playing out from the back. I think he had another wobbly game against Arsenal. And ever since then, he seems to have calmed down a little bit. His composure's improved. Again, West Ham, similar to last time, putting set pieces into the box, making it difficult for Leeds United, pressing from the front foot, using the four players in the possible 4-2-3-1 that we'll use, will make it difficult for Meslier. I hope in a game where possibly we use Jesse Lingard and Mikel Antonio, compared to last time out where we had neither, that we can put this man under pressure and we can look to get the win early doors. Right back, I think Luke Ayling's been playing there recently, so I imagine he'll come in. He's played centre-back at times this season. He's played right back. I think now they've got Llorente and Cooper at centre-back, and I imagine those two will be fit, that Ayling will find his space on the right-hand side. Good player going forward, willing to progress with the ball, can cause West Ham some issues if he's willing to step into midfield. The concern with Leeds and their weakness is always the fact that their defence can be a little bit vulnerable in the way that Marcelo Bielsa likes to play and the space that they've got to move into the midfield. I think if Leeds can get enough of the ball, and I imagine they'll have a lot of the possession, if they can press West Ham, Ayling will make those kind of overlapping runs or possibly even inverted runs and just keep the press. And Marcelo Bielsa likes to use his fullbacks in terms of maintaining that pressure on opposition sides, and Ayling's a massive part of that. In terms of technical ability, I'm not saying he's up there, but I think he's good enough for a Premier League player. I think he's proven that this season. He will look to play into midfield and they will look to play around the back as well. But nonetheless, good player, decent in the air as well, hence why we've seen him at centre-back. Right-hand side centre-back will be Diego Llorente. Honestly, I thought he had a brilliant game. I know they lost against Aston Villa, but really good in the air, really composed in possession. Interestingly enough, you see him stepping into that kind of final third at times for Leeds United and playing those balls in dangerous areas and willing to play balls through the lines. And listen, if West Ham catch themselves off guard and we press Souček and Declan Rice high and we're a little bit risk averse, which is highly unlikely, then he can play through those lines. And you worry at times if Bamford can drop a little bit deeper, Tyler Roberts, the way he's been employed as a number 8 this season, that they can break the press. And it will obviously give him a chance in transition, which we want to avoid as much as possible. Again, he has just come back from injury. You'd like to think West Ham can put him under a bit of pressure. I don't think the way that Aston Villa did, particularly, I felt they were very negative, if I'm honest. I know Ollie Watkins was able to drag him out of position a few times, but Mikel Antonio is a different animal in terms of his hold-up play. If we can draw Llorente out, make him feel comfortable enough to bring the ball out, as all of this defence will, then maybe we can capitalise, particularly with the presser like Jesse Lingard, possibly Pablo Fornals if he deputises on the right-hand side. Left-sided centre-back will be Liam Cooper. Honestly, really impressed with him. I know Leeds fans call him League One Liam, and to be honest, I wasn't sure whether he could make the step up, particularly at this level. But in terms of his understanding, his reading of the game, the blocks that he can make, the last-ditch tackles, I think he's a perfect four with Llorente. Llorente being the man that can bring the ball out. Cooper isn't going to run into the midfield. He's got a decent amount of technicality about him. His mobility would be a concern. Llorente is a lot more mobile than Liam Cooper, and you feel that possibly Mikel Antonio, if he draws off to that right-hand side, or West Ham can create overloads with Lingard, or possibly even progress the likes of Soufal, particularly in transition, that Liam Cooper is going to struggle in this game. You've got to look at both players in terms of set pieces. West Ham being really strong in the air. Dawson now coming into the side compared to the return fixture. So again, there are areas that we can hurt them. I know he's a little better aerially, but I think in terms of open play, that mobility is going to be an issue for him. And particularly if Leeds decide to progress one of their fullbacks, West Ham can almost create a 3-on-3 or even a 4-on-3 at times if we can push Thomas Souček high enough. Maybe one of the most underrated players in the league is Stuart Dallas. The amount of positions that this man has played this season, left back, right back, number 8, holding midfield, really, really impressive guy. And I don't think technically he's the best player. What you'll get from him is a lot of energy, stamina, willingness to close down the ball. But like I think with most of these Leeds defenders, and particularly I look at Ayling, and I know Leeds fans like Ayling and they might criticise me in the comment section, but him and Dallas, I don't think are technically the best. I think that's what puts a lot of problems in terms of their ball retention and making mistakes in their own third. And they need to cut that out long term. For West Ham, you look at that right-hand side, Soufal. I don't think Fornals is going to be the guy to possibly exploit someone like a Stuart Dallas, but Stuart Dallas will be willing to get forward, offering that press alongside Jack Harrison. So again, they can put pressure, but it does mean that West Ham in transition can hurt them and run into space. And possibly if Jarrod Bowen deputises and he's back in for this game, then we can cause them some issues. This hinges a lot on Leeds' form this season, and I'm not sure whether he'll be fit. I imagine, and it wasn't a case of whether he was fit or not, it was due to compassionate leave. Calvin Phillips. I know there's a debate, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, and I feel like we've squashed it. But how important Calvin Phillips is to Leeds is absolutely crucial. The way that he can step in between the two centre-backs and allow the full-backs to progress. The way he can pressure the ball. The way he can win the ball. His ball retention is fantastic. The passing range. The protection he gives to his centre-backs and almost his full-backs at times and allowing them to move forward. Those are the things that Calvin Phillips can do. And the fact that he's comfortable enough to play in a single pivot and press a little bit higher, it almost dictates the way that Leeds can play and allows them to be on the front foot. I know Pascal Stroik's played in that position before. Again, he doesn't offer enough protection. He is an actual centre-back. Calvin Phillips causes some issues in terms of West Ham. If we try and counter-attack and transition, we don't commit enough men forward. I imagine that Phillips will be able to deal with it. If West Ham can create overloads in the midfield areas, and I think a lot of teams that have created overloads against Leeds have been very, very successful because of the way they play, the expansive, the use of the number 8s, and now with a bit of a number 10 in Tyler Roberts. We can get at Calvin Phillips. We can exploit him. We can get into the spaces in behind. And obviously with Leeds' man marking system, we can force one of them to come out of the shape. And that is where West Ham will get chances in this game. But he's a very good player, Calvin Phillips, in fairness to him. He struggled last time against Cyber and Rama. Again, it is because of that space in midfield. So if West Ham can get bodies around, particularly with the movement of Lingard, it could be a difficult evening for him. Matthias Klich, I actually rate as a player. I know he's in a bit of a dodgy period of form. I know his passing's a little bit sloppy. I think earlier in the season, I was seeing a lot of passes from him. The decisiveness of it, playing through the lines, I was really impressed with. I don't think we're seeing that as much from him now. I think it's too sloppy. He's tried to play in a defensive role when Calvin's been out. He hasn't been good enough to do that because that isn't his natural position. You know, he will offer West Ham issues in terms of being able to, willing to make those additional runs in behind, stretch the play, allow Rafinha to come a little bit central and allow somebody like a Luke Ayling to press up a little bit further. He is the trigger point. I think earlier in this season, particularly against West Brom, what I saw was the fact that Klich and Rodrigo, their willingness and ability to get in beyond and stretch the team and allow the forwards to come into play is what makes Leeds tick. Effectively, it enables them to be really, really effective in that transition. And I think Klich is still doing that. He still understands the system clearly. He's been there for a few years, but the sloppiness of the passing will give West Ham opportunities. We play in a double pivot. If the passing is very, very sloppy, it allows West Ham to commit those 4 attacking players forward in a 4-2-3-1 and Declan Rice and Souček as well to progress with the ball if we can win it off Klich. And Klich being out of position as well means that if West Ham do get the ball, that we can progress into the midfield. And that is where, for me, the game will be won and lost. Tyler Roberts, listen, they've had injury problems. Rodrigo, I think Helder Costa's been, I know he's a bit more of a natural winger, but there's been a few replacements for this position. The way that Tyler Roberts is now working, not so much as how Rodrigo was working earlier in the season, but more of a number 10 or an auxiliary striker trying to get close to Patrick Bamford, giving him an additional run in behind. And Bamford is a very, very good football player in terms of his understanding, his link up, his movement in behind, and we'll get to him very, very shortly. Tyler Roberts' downfall is not his willingness and his energy to carry the ball, but it's his decision making. And West Ham will capitalise on that. You're looking at 2 progressive number 8s, almost like a number 10. You look at the double pivot in terms of being able to deal with that. We look at the ball retention and the sort of dual recoveries of someone like a Declan Rice and a Thomas Souček can cause Leeds issues. And if those 2 players aren't at the races and it doesn't feel like they've been that recently, then West Ham will 100% exploit that. And we're lucky enough to have a double pivot that can almost progress with the ball very, very effectively. And it will allow the likes of Lingard, Bowen, maybe Fornals, Ben Rama to find themselves in higher positions where we can force Leeds into that man marking system and draw them out of shape. So he hasn't been effective enough for me, Tyler Roberts, from what I've seen. And it is frustrating, I imagine, for Leeds fans to see him play in that side. And if you had a better quality player, if there was a better technical player there, then maybe you would be starting to cause teams a few more issues. Let's get to the forward men, probably the most exciting from a Leeds perspective. Jack Harrison, good player, really, really good player. I think because he's naturally left-footed, he holds the width a little bit better than Rafinha. Rafinha likes to come into his left, but Harrison will hold the width. He does like to come in central. He's actually very, very good with both feet. That could be an issue for somebody like Soufal. But Soufal, particularly in the previous fixture, particularly this season, has been very, very good one-to-one. And you feel that if you can nullify someone like a Jack Harrison, particularly from progressing into the box, the West Ham will get a lot of joy in transition. He'll be out of shape. The work that both him and Rafinha, to a degree, although albeit less so, in terms of protecting their fullbacks, he's very, very important to the way that Leeds play. And I think at times, possibly, they lose his attacking intent for his defensive work rate. With West Ham, we obviously know Jarrod Bowen, Fornals, they do a very, very similar job. But Leeds playing more of a 4-3-3 or a 4-1-4-1. It feels a bit like they are very, very reliant on that, particularly with the way that they progress and press with the side. But he's a good player. If he finds himself in the box, it is a concern. He can hit fantastic goals from distance as well. He's got a lot of technical quality, very good first touch. I imagine that West Ham, particularly with the protection down the right-hand side, if you do have Fornals and Soufal, will be able to deal with it. And the space that he'll exploit naturally will leave the transition open. Right-hand side, Rafinha, they absolutely love him up there. He's a fantastic player. I think the thing with Rafinha is if you give him space, and I don't imagine West Ham will, he can exploit teams. My concern would be him versus Aaron Cresswell if we revert to a back four, purely because of the fact that I know Cresswell is a little bit more comfortable in central areas now. He's been better at left-sided centre-back, but Rafinha, his dribbling ability, the way he can beat a man, I would worry. His pace, he can beat somebody like an Aaron Cresswell. He gives them an outlet. Last time round, he wasn't very new to the league. He was a little bit raw in terms of his talent. We know he's got the ability. I think he's settled in now fantastically, and that would concern me down that left-hand side. And I wouldn't be surprised if Fornals may be deputised on the left-hand side. I personally wouldn't advocate it. I think Benrahma has to play in this game purely because of the space element to it. But Rafinha, if he can carry that ball over distances, beat somebody like an Aaron Cresswell, we're causing ourselves too many unnecessary issues. You're allowing the fullbacks to progress. Calvin will push up as well, allowing that press on West Ham. Click could make a run and possibly in and around the box, and Bamford as well could find the right amount of space. We want to nullify those type of opportunities and really restrict Leeds. And I think teams that have played successfully in a bit of a low block this season and not allow the defensive lines to be broken have done well against them. And then you've got Patrick Bamford, who I think is knocking on the door for an England call-up. Not sure if we'll do it, but has done very, very well. Adapted to the Premier League fantastically. His link-up play is underrated. Obviously, they play a little bit inverted at times, possibly Rafinha and Jack Harrison, so he naturally has the awareness in and around him. You do not want Patrick Bamford playing on the shoulder of a back four, period. And I know West Ham have been very, very good at it this season. We've improved in terms of when to step back, and it was a little bit of a learning curve, I think, possibly first 20 minutes against Leeds going to that back four, and he exploited it. And it's exactly what West Ham need to nullify and deal with. If you've got Declan Rice and Souček sitting, there's enough protection to the two centre-backs. And Leeds, as much as I say they'll progress someone like a Click or a Tyler Roberts, in theory, West Ham should be able to deal with it, particularly with the work that Declan Rice can do in fitting in at times into a back three of what it becomes and allowing Cresswell to progress. And Souček, we know for his defensive attributes. So, long way around it. I think West Ham have got the shape to deal with Patrick Bamford. But like I say, if you've got players that can break the lines, Rafinha being one of them, he's the guy that can sniff out a chance from nothing. And West Ham have to be really, really cute and aware in terms of when to sit back as a back four and sort of dealing with that space. And I think, to be fair to Craig Dawson and Diop, they've done a good job in the past two games. I know we talk about the Man City set piece or delivery or whatever, but generally speaking, they have done very well and they read the space as well. So that's what I imagine that the Leeds side will look like. West Ham, like I touched on, I think will revert to a 4-2-3-1. No surprises there for me. I think the wing-back system works, particularly in the low block. I think West Ham, we've improved in a 4-2-3-1. I think we're more aware of the positions. It worked last time very, very well. We were allowed to press from the front. If you watch Leeds against the likes of Arsenal, and Arsenal by no means have done well this season, but pressing from the front is the way that you force them into errors, and you will get the chances. And you feel now with the side with Benrahma that's bedded in nicely, Lingard as well, with how clinical he's been, that we can hurt them. And I think that's where West Ham's route is. We can be more clinical from open play than we were last time around. So let's get into the West Ham predicted 11. Lucas Fabianski in goal. I imagine that he's going to come back. From all accounts, he is fit and raring to go. I'm not saying Randolph did a bad job, but we missed Fabi. We missed him in the last game. It's good to see him back. Again, the reason why he's so good is because he can switch on in the moments where West Ham possibly have a lot of the ball or we look comfortable and then all of a sudden someone hits us in transition or breaks the line. And he's the guy that reads the situation incredibly well. Did it brilliantly against Spurs. We need him back in the side. He's so important. And on the note of his contract apparently being expired towards the end of this season, please get it done, because there's no reason why he shouldn't be at West Ham next season. I know he's aging, but honestly, he's been fantastic. Right back, Soufal. Again, he's good. He's equally good in a wing back system, and obviously at right back, really good against Manchester City. Wing back gives him license to get forward. Right back's a little bit more sketchy. You rely on whoever's on that right hand side of the attacking midfield three to protect and cover. If Bowen comes in, you've got a lot of mobility there, and Bowen offers a lot of defensive work rate. Naturally, he can create overloads. I think West Ham won't have to commit as many men forward, particularly in wide areas, because of the way that Leeds will press up their fullbacks. It does give us opportunities. You do allow attacking midfield players like your Bowens and like possibly Saib Benrahma on the left-hand side to begin to flourish a little bit and move into space. And I think that's where the game will be won. But Soufal has to deal with Jack Harrison. If we can do a job on him, prevent him from getting into the box, preventing deliveries, then obviously we'll have a chance in this game. Right-sided centre-back, Craig Dawson, again, been brilliant this season. And I think he's such a threat from set pieces that it would be a remiss of West Ham to not use him in that light against Leeds United. They've improved from set pieces, to be fair to them. I think Llorente's good aerially, Liam Cooper's good aerially, but the zonal marking situation, West Ham employ it themselves. But West Ham, the amount of really, really strong winners of the ball in the air, Declan Rice, Souček, Dawson, you've got Diop in there as well, take out the Man City game. But we can still hurt them, and I think that's exactly what Craig Dawson needs to do. The worry for him and Diop for me is Patrick Bamford. The movement's very, very good. I think Manchester City, when you're playing against a false nine and those kind of, I know the eight's made those sort of runs in behind, but we were able to nullify and step back. He needs to do exactly the same in this game. I'm sure he will, but having someone as a focal point of Patrick Bamford, you have to be switched on for the 90 minutes. It's about West Ham, particularly with the protection of the two double pivots in there, to really, really look after the centre-backs. But aerially, I don't think they'll be challenged too much. Leeds struggle aerially. So I think in terms of deliveries, West Ham will be fine. But in open play, movement, if someone breaks that defensive line, even a number 8, then these lads need to be switched on. Issa Diop on the left-hand side, I think he's done really well. I've got to be honest. I know people say he hasn't done, he's been okay, he's not been great. I've been impressed with him coming back into the side and showing me a little bit more composure, reading of the game. We know his physical attributes, decent in the air, got a bit of pace around him, and I know he did get beat by KDB, but we'll forget about it. He will improve, I think, with game time. I think we need him. Obviously, Ogbonna's out for the month. Possibly add a little bit onto that to allow him to get a little bit of match fitness, but he has to deal with the run of Bamford, very, very similar to Craig Dawson. Again, they're not going to progress the 8s in someone like a Click, but Tyler Roberts could. And I think we've got enough tactically to deal with it. But if Bamford's dropping into deeper areas and allowing Tyler Roberts to get in beyond, we have to be switched on. You feel that West Ham won't be in too many of those situations with the protection, but maybe in transition, if we switch to the back 4 and Declan Rice and Souček have pressed very, very high, then again, that is a problem if they can get Tyler Roberts forward, if they can get Patrick Bamford forward. Aaron Cresswell, I worry about him in this game in a back 4. And listen, we know his quality from set pieces. That's why he's so important to this side. And again, if West Ham need a set piece in this game, I'm sure it'll be him to get the assist. But Rafinha on the right-hand side, Alien pushing up as well. I think against Spurs, and it goes under the radar because we got the win, that Aaron Cresswell was in a little bit of trouble with Doherty and somebody like a Bale. Very, very similar situation, by the way. Bale cutting into his left. Rafinha will do exactly the same. Very, very good feet. And the overlap from the right back. And I think if Leeds have done their homework in this game, they'll progress Alien a little bit further forward and not allow him just to sit in an inverted position, because West Ham can deal with the deliveries all day long. Going forward, problematic. I know Declan Rice has been very, very pivotal in terms of slipping at times back into that back 3 and allowing someone like Cresswell to progress a bit more. I don't think we need him too much in advanced positions. I can't imagine West Ham playing even a mid-block or a high line against Leeds. I don't think it's going to work like that. I think we've got enough to transition. I'd be more comfortable with him being reserved. He has naturally been that a little bit more this season. But if Leeds get the press on, get in possession, that does massively concern me. And I think we do, and I think whoever's on that left-hand side, and I'm going to pluck for one or the other in a minute, they need to give him some protection. So let's get into the double pivot. No surprises. Declan Rice and Thomas Souček. Yeah, listen, Declan's been phenomenal this season. Thought he was really, really good against Man City. Brilliant against Spurs. The passing range that we saw. I think he'll get space to move into this midfield. I really, really do. Breakdowns, turnovers, Declan Rice and Souček are phenomenal at. I think the way that they use the number 8s with Tyler Roberts playing possibly in a more advanced role, you'd be looking at those turnovers to win them, progress with the ball and move into space. And Declan Rice has proven this season that he's very, very composed on the ball. And I think he'll have options in front of him, particularly with the likes of Lingard and the link up, maybe a Benrahma in this side, a Bowen in terms of his mobility, and Antonio. He'll have genuine options. So it means actually, although he can progress with the ball, possibly he doesn't have to. Maybe it's just a case of his distribution being very, very solid and working into feet, and possibly West Ham creating that turnover and exploiting that Leeds United back four. And I think that's the way that West Ham will win this game in open play. Again, I imagine his role to be a little bit more defensive. I think he can deal with the way that Leeds use their number 8s at times, to be fair. But again, I think just the quality of the distribution from him, protection of the back two as well. We spoke about how Tyler Roberts can make those additional runs, will be crucial. And if we do need to get a result in this game, and it might get down to a point where West Ham feel that they need the 3 points, and I personally believe we need to get the win here, then maybe sort of slides back into a back three, and Creswell progresses a little bit more in that inverted left position. Souček, we know his quality. I think equally in this game, we know he can progress with the ball. I don't think West Ham need to do that necessarily in terms of using Souček in that way. But in terms of breaking the defensive lines, I think he's going to be a nightmare for Leeds United. I think the way that Llorente will look to step out from the back, possibly Calvin Phillips as well, if we can create a turnover in possession. Very, very similar for me, like the Aston Villa game. We saw as well with Souček progressing in beyond the strikers. No reason why we can't use that in this game. Creating overloads is the way that we can beat Leeds United. They play a man marking system, an individual pressing system. They will cover for each other, but eventually if you commit enough men forward and it's a 5v4 at times, it's very, very difficult for them to cope with. And Souček, very composed in terms of in front of goal. We know he's fantastic in the air. Set pieces will be crucial. I expect to see him causing all types of havoc. I'm going to get to my attacking midfield three. Let me know in the comments who you would pick. I'm going to go, and I struggle with this one a little bit because I'm not convinced I agree with it, but I think this is what he'll do. Fornals on the left, possibly. I think Creswell needs protection, and to be honest, you need it from Pablo Fornals. He will offer it. I know he played on the right-hand side against Man City. I thought it was one of his better games in a long, long time in terms of his composure on the ball. And those attributes you definitely need in a game like this, transitions, the quality moments in that final third, he can offer. Is he going to progress with the ball that much? No, I think West Ham have enough. I think Lingard now in this game compared to last time out is super important. And it does give him a man that can run from deep, and it puts less pressure on Pablo Fornals in an attacking sense. I just worry about Creswell with Rafinha. That's my only concern. And I think Pablo Fornals does offer that work rate, the defensive attributes to deal with it. So, despite really wanting Benrahma in there, I'm going to go Fornals down the left-hand side. Number 10, Jesse Lingard. Listen, no surprises here. I think this is a real quality game. But I really believe if West Ham are in a defensive shape, he can progress with the ball. I think in order to get the best out of Lingard in this game, and to see his real quality is to get men in and around him. Whether it's Mikel Antonio, whether it's Fornals, whether it's Bowen on the right-hand side, you have to get men in and around him because Calvin Phillips one-on-one in terms of ball retention, in terms of ball recovery, is very, very good. And as good as someone like Jesse Lingard has been in terms of playing with the lines, the quality in terms of driving from deep, beating a man as well, I think that's also, if we can go and beat Calvin Phillips, force him out of position as well in transition, he's going to cause those two centre-backs absolute nightmares because he can beat a man. He's very, very competent at it, and he will get chances in front of goal in this game for me. He's crucial in terms of open play. He's crucial in terms of shots on target, and I think possibly he might even be the match winner. I'm really, really excited to see him in a game where he's going to get a lot of space in that midfield. And on the right-hand side, purely because I think Pablo will go on the left, and if Pablo's on the left, that won't mean no Benrahma. Jared Bowen on the right. Bowen, again, it's a real opportunity for him to do well in this game. He did well against Leeds for me. I know he did well. I mean, as in he drove with the ball, he had space, he had chances. And there's no doubt, I saw a clip the other day of Jared Bowen against Wolves, and his finishing, cutting into brilliant. We need that Jared Bowen back. We need that sort of him. We need him to be clinical. We need him to be decisive. The difference in this game is the players that he has in and around him. There was such an emphasis on him last time to drive with the ball because Haller lacked that ability to carry the ball from deep. But when you've got Lingard making those intelligent runs, Mikel Antonio playing almost as a focal point at times on that sort of back four of Leeds United, he's going to get chances to play the ball in. But when he gets the chances, and he will because they'll progress Stuart Dallas very, very high up, please find the right man. West Ham will have men. I wouldn't even be surprised if we commit Thomas Souček forward, but he has to take those right decisions. And he's an odd one because I know he's very young and he has done well this season, but it just in those moments, he could have done so much better in terms of goals and assists, and it's incredibly picky of me, but I think in games like this, we need to kill him off very, very early. I think that's the only thing we've possibly been guilty of this season, having a lot of chances and not taking them. And I want Jared Bowen to do that because he's a fantastic player and he got another assist against Spurs. So again, we know his quality. We need to see it in this game. And I think he comes on the right-hand side purely because Benrahma is really more adept to the left and he's not going to play 10. I would look to, ideally you'd have Benrahma, and I think if we had a wing-back system, I'd play Benrahma on the left, but it is what it is. That's just my opinion. And up front, Mikel Antonio. Yeah, I think this is the clincher. This is the difference compared to last time. We had Haller last time, and he had a lot of chances. If Aller's having a lot of chances against Leeds United, and I know they've improved defensively, so it might sound harsh me saying this, Antonio's going to have a lot of chances. We spoke about them pressing individually. We spoke how they were out of shape. Even if Calvin Phillips drops to create a back three, if he can get back in time in that shape, West Ham will commit a lot of men forward. The mobility that we'll have, drawing them out of position. I think Mikel Antonio is best when he's on the shoulder of defenders and he's in and around the box, when he's a little bit instinctive. Great threat in the air. Again, we talk about deliveries into the box. Leeds, I know Llorente and Cooper are generally quite good, but in this type of game, if you can get the ball into Mikel Antonio, that can break that defensive line, that can play on the shoulder, that is good in the air, he will get chances. I think all of our attacking four in this game, or attacking three, or even five, if we can commit Souček forward, will be absolutely pivotal. I am looking forward to this game. I do think it's a chance for West Ham to get a really solid result, to sort of say to people, listen, we're a very good side, we're competing for Europe at the minute and we deserve to be there. And I think despite Leeds' improvement this season, I feel that West Ham are going to be too strong for them. I think we've improved defensively, we've improved all round, and the personnel in Lingard coming into the side, Mickey back from the last time out, then Rama to come on off the bench if he is on the bench. We've got so many options to play, and I think I feel very, very confident coming into this game. I am going to go, therefore, 3-1 to West Ham. I think we'll switch off at some point, whether it's late on. We know Leeds are relentless the way that they play, even if it is late on. Maybe a Bamford, maybe a Rafinha from distance, but if you're West Ham, have improved massively, even with a back four. We'll find spaces in the midfield, we'll drive. I expect us to have a very, very good game, and I expect us to turn up. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the West Ham Way if you're new. I'm going to return with an opposition analysis tomorrow, and that'll obviously cover how Leeds play, the danger men, the influences. I kind of touched on it here, but you'll get a little bit more in depth. I'll stick it to a 10-minute video, and let me know what you think of that. So until next time, take care.